Tonight, we're focusing on Tema East constituency in the Greater Accra region. The incumbent MP is the Honourable Daniel Ni Kwate Titus Glover. He's running again on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party, and his opponent from the NDC is Kempis Ofosuwari, who has failed to show up for the show tonight. So we are in the studio with the Honourable Titus Glover, and the PNC also said they were sending a candidate, and he's yet to show up. So we'll go ahead with the Honourable Titus Glover. So obviously, we are not at fault here, and I hope nobody will be crying that we didn't bring the other contestant from the constituency. You're welcome to the show. Is your opponent afraid of you? Is Kempis afraid of you? You beat him by 3 votes the last time, didn't you? Yes, hence MP3. Yes, where's that necklace of yours?
It's in the house.
It's in the house. You decided not to wear it. But would there be a reason for him to be afraid of you in this competition?
Well, first of all,
you've lost your voice, so I can understand.
Your viewers out there, I've lost my voice. So they should.
You've been campaigning?
Of course I do. I do a lot of talking. It's part of me and the job I do. So I've lost my voice quite unfortunately. Well, in answer to your question, he knows best why he's not coming. Because basically he has nothing to share with your viewers. Because, I don't know.
Right. Anyway, let's delve into the constituency. You've been an MP there for a while. You're happy?
Of course.
About the progress you've made so far?
Of course, yes.
Are the people happy with you?
Yes, of course.
They tell you that?
Well, some are happy, some may not be happy because I'm human. And I may not be able to satisfy all their concerns, basically, because monies that are given to members of parliament is not as huge as that one that goes to the assemblies. Basically, we have the common fund, we have the National Health Insurance Fund, we have the GET Fund. You know, these are 3 core monies that comes to members of parliament. And you recall that sometimes these monies, particularly the common fund, does not come regularly. You know, as I speak to you now, the first quarter of this year has not been paid. So we have a lot of things that we do with all these monies. So we want to compare me with a metropolitan chief executive or any of my colleagues to a district chief executive.
Do you have a good relationship?
Yeah, now it's better now.
It's much better
now.
now.
It's better than before.
What has changed?
I think that we met, that was about a few months back. The 2 of us who met. We are natives of Tema.
Right.
He's from Magbowi and I'm from Kofichawe. So, like I told him before, at the time when he was soliciting my support to get him nominated by the assembly members. So the common thing we need to do is to forge together and develop Tema. So therefore, I don't know if I sat down and realized that there's a need for us to come together, so be it. So I went to him. I went to his office. I said, look, sit and let's talk. So after that, we had a very wonderful cooperation that we are working together.
So things are working very well the way you want it?
Very well.
Okay, I want to start with the issues in your constituency. Your constituents talk about filth that is engulfing several parts, for instance, Tema New Town. What has been the progress of work to sanitize Tema New Town in particular?
Basically, the core functions of members of parliament is not to deal with sanitation. These are purely roles of the assemblies. And I think that we have 7 electoral areas in Tema here. One in the Dadiagbo electoral area, Sea Light, Bankumang, Oninku, Harbour, and Homo electoral areas. Tema here has a very densely populated community. And for that matter, I agree with your crew that came to the constituency. There's a lot that we need to do. But I think that it is 2 way of dealing with sanitation. Because if attitudinally we have a problem as human beings and we don't seem to be doing much to complement the efforts of the assembly, at the end of the day we begin to blame the assembly for doing virtually nothing. So I think that as human beings, as residents in Tema here, there's a need for us to do a conscious effort to see how best we're going to deal with sanitation. The role of the assembly is to provide the leadership and the resources in dealing with the sanitation. We should not be waiting till every 1 month, the first Saturday of every month, to deal with sanitation. The containers that's supposed to be placed at vantage places need to be there regularly. Now, when the containers are full, they need to be picked up and empty.
But that's not the situation at the moment.
Well, it depends on where they went and the time of the arrival of your crew.
Right.
So for now, I cannot speak for that. So I think that the best person
but I want to know if it's a common feature there that you have dustbins that get overfilled and they stand there for a very long time.
But when you are entering Tema here, just at the edge of the town, close to the Chemu Lagoon, there used to be a Zoomlion container right on your left-hand side.
Right.
Sometimes get overfilled, and you see the refuse all over the place. But I've realized that they moved it away from the roadside to the right-hand side, to the land close to the beach. That is where it is. Maybe they want to move it away from the site of the people, close inside. But the point is that there's a need for us to take it quite regularly, you know, to avoid any health hazards in the community and all that. Okay.
Now, as far as I want to stay on filth for a while, these are pictures from your constituency. Do you recognize the area?
I know this is close to behind the Chemu Lagoon. That is the power barge, the car power barge.
Right. This is such a pathetic sight, isn't it?
There's the estuary from where I'm sitting, all the wastewater from the industries, all the rainfall from the mountainous area from the Kowo Ridge into the industrial area.
And there's never been an attempt to manage it better?
And they find their way into the Chemu Lagoon, then into the sea.
Right.
It has destroyed the estuary is completely gone. I recall when I raised this issue at the floor of Parliament. I invited the Minister for Works and Housing on 2 occasions that there's a need for them to look at it. The way Amandi is trying to fix the coastline at the Sakumono Beach, we can extend part of this job to that area, because the tidal waves from the port is what has destroyed, you know, the coast. I remember discussing that with the Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbors, and what he told me was that it is quite expensive, because he's looking at another project for me. There's a bridge that links the Awudum Quarter and the Canoe Beach, which he has agreed. In fact, there's a cost breakdown that has been done by the 48 engineers, which they're going to fix for me within the shortest possible time. Right. So combining the fixing of the erosion at the 5 beach is a big problem. So he has asked me to get in touch with the Minister of Works and Housing and Water Resources, which I'm still pursuing. So this is the beach area, because the complete coastline is destroyed, because the big drains and the force of the Gulf of Guinea has caused that destruction to that area. Then also attitudinally, the way people have been dumping refuse over there. And sometimes it's not the people too. You know, when it rains, people find it lazy. You know, they dump all this refuse into the drain, and they all come and get choked in the drains, and they end up into the sea. So when they wash them ashore, that's what we see basically around the place.
Okay, now I still want to stay on filth, because you mentioned attitudes, and then you mentioned your meeting with the MCE. But these industries in your constituency, do they in any way attempt to help solve this problem?
Well,
do they embark on any?
From where I sit, Nanaba, from where I sit, I'm not in charge of the assembly. I'm sure my kid brother will be the best person to tell us whether the assembly has been supportive. And I recall when I was an assembly member, when Nia Mashite was there, they've been playing a human's role, the industries, you know, in supporting us, all that. And I'm not sure, because of the difficulties that most of these industries are going through for the past 8 years in this administration, there will be that hand of support that they want to give. So I think
what kind of difficulty?
I'm talking about, you know, the general economic trends. I mean, expensive costs of production, and then the competition that they are facing with these imported cheap products from China, elsewhere, and all that. So I think that they have a challenge. So I may not know. I shall be the best person to tell us as to whether they've been supportive in fighting. But again, apart from sanitation, the issue about pollution. You recall I've talked about Panya Food Cannery before. Yes. Because when you are entering to Mahia, if I take you to Mahia, and you are welcomed by this bad smell from Pioneer Food Cannery. It is quite unpleasant. I'm taking legal action very soon. I've done
against Pioneer
Food Cannery.
For the stench that emanates
from the factory. The EPA have not been very supportive. They will tell you they've asked them to put up a factory just across the street to reduce the stench and all that. But I think that it is not the best for us. Now, when you look at the chimney, the smoke that is produced, and you look at the direction, you have these women selling fish across the street. And you look at the direction of these fumes and all that is produced from the factory. And it's on our women, my sisters and my mothers all the time. They are dying every day, we don't know. So I'm going to challenge Pioneer Food Cannery for that kind of pollution. Because if it's in the West or these advanced countries, I'm not sure civil society organizations will have allowed Pioneer Food Cannery. And the way they even discharge their wastewater into the Chebulago is a difficult thing for all of us. I think that sanitation and pollution by Pioneer Food Cannery and Tema Refinery is a major issue.
Okay, but this has persisted for years.
For years, for over 3-4 decades.
And nobody has pursued them?
Nobody. I remember when I was a youth leader in Mahia as a president of the Tema Youth Association, we had a couple of times we would discuss about the pollution of the Chebulago. I met my late grandmother, you know, and my grandfathers. At the time of this fishing season, when it's off, they go into the Chebulago and they cast their nets. They get good catch. They bring it home. Today, industrial activities has destroyed the aquaculture of the Chebulago. So there's no aquatic life. And
it's affecting the people.
It's affecting them economically. It's affecting them. You know, so seriously, now that I'm a member of parliament, I need to take them to task. And I'm going to do that, it's a promise.
How long have you been pursuing this since you became an MP?
Since I became, because I started with the approach, you know, the dialogue. As to, I visited the plant, you know, I had a word with the management of the plant, and they promised that they want to do something. I wrote then to my colleague, Harun Edrisu, and he told me that they said they are doing something about it, but my sister, it's getting worse than before. So I think that the best thing.
So there hasn't been the slightest change at all in there?
If I sit and I tell you, you might think that I'm lying.
We have to go there and find out ourselves.
Those, you see the total filling station just across the street.
I'm sorry, I don't know that area very well.
You have to find them number and go and ask them. Those full attendants there, they will tell you. You would ask the woman who sells fish, the European market, they will tell you. It's a nightmare that my people are going through there.
Okay, and now let's move on to something quite connected to the filth. Markets. I understand some of your markets are also engulfed in some amount of filth. There's been some progress of work in other markets, which is encouraging. But what is the current state of your markets generally in the constituency? Do you have quite a number of them?
You are asking the wrong question.
Well, you're the MP, so I'm sure the market women speak to you.
Because when I came, there was one particular market called Kwesua Dwaso. It was so filthy. I mean, hygienically, you would not even allow yourselves to go and buy foodstuff from the market.
Right.
You understand?
How bad was the situation?
I was born about 50 years ago. Okay. And I recall when my mother sent me at the age of 8, 9, 10 to go and see my aunties help me to buying foodstuff from the market. The place was filthy. As I speak to you now, when you come to Ate Amandua Kwesua Dwaso, I've changed a place like this room.
Right.
I have concretized the floor. There's no filth anymore. I have put up a brand new structure, you know, where my mothers and my sisters who deals in food stuff like this.
It actually backs a tweet that I just saw on my timeline from one Mensa Afari, who says that if for nothing, Titus Glover has changed the Kwesua Dwaso in Tema, this constituency, and it's a reason I will keep him in office. So well done to you.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled. So I've managed to change this field into a molding facility. Where apart
How
from
did you do it? With your common fund?
Yeah, with my common fund and the HIPIC funds.
Right.
They now call it the Social Intervention Fund. So I'll be able to attach 2 toilets and 2 bathrooms. So after selling, you can go and wash down. When you even visit the loo, you can have a place you know, and that's
the market.
That's the market.
Okay.
In the past, you can't go here.
It was dirty.
Very dirty, filthy. You have these Zoom Lion containers there with all the filthy water coming out, and women are selling at the bare floor. Do you understand? So this is what I managed to use my common fund to do. So basically, it is a plus.
Right.
And I want to thank the Corporation of Assembly that they gave me, together with the market women and the market queens, to enable us to fix this problem for the market women. And there are other projects that I'm doing in the health sector, like the recovery ward for.
I'll come to health very soon. I still want to stay on the market.
Yeah.
Some of these market women sometimes complain about the access to capital or otherwise for them to start their businesses. There are a few who also complain that they feel stuck. They had access to some amount of money to start their business, but they feel they're not making any profit. Their life is at a standstill. Are these complaints that you've heard? Has it come to your attention?
I've heard, and some have come to me for assistance, but unfortunately, our common fund are not meant for that purpose.
Right.
You know, in the
So it
past,
probably
where you
comes
have
from your pocket.
these social intervention funds that we have, people even come and collect them. They don't even pay back before they feel that it's government money and you're not going to pay back.
I honestly must commend you. I mean, I haven't seen a market as neat as this in a while.
Yeah, and what we do is that we keep an eye on them, because at the end of the day, the refuse that it generates at the market is quite huge. And
so they pay some amount of
they
money
pay daily tolls to the assembly.
Daily tolls.
Yeah, they pay daily tolls to the assembly.
Ensure
and all that, you know, to keep the place tidy and all that. But just next to the Kwesiadwa, so we have the refuse dump there. In the past, you have all these refuse from the market that are thrown to the place. And even residents around the sites find their way throwing their refuse at the place. But I think that my brother has done so well, but ensuring the MC has done well by making sure that before you dump your refuse, you pay something,
right?
You know, to control, and we'll be able to manage
it ensures responsibility.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's go back to the women who complain about access to capital.
I think that the best thing they can do is to come together as an association. And these microfinance companies that are in town, you know, I mean, genuine ones. We don't want these DKMs and all those people who have run away with their hard mothers and sisters' monies and all that. If they're able to come together, I'm sure I'll be able to lead them. But the question again is the way they are going to pay. Because I can't lead you to a lender and at the end of the day it becomes my liability. That is why I'm sure most of my colleagues are not ready and prepared to involve themselves directly in some of these things, you know. So it is the responsibility of these government, these social.
So what do you tell them? I mean, I'm sure you get inundated
a lot
on a daily basis,
of course,
by some of these calls.
Yeah.
So what do you tell them?
I just encourage them. I encourage them that there is very little. If I have the little I have, I can offer them. But unfortunately, I'm not in that position to influence so much as to what should be done. And I think that these are areas, and I know you later, and the ministry should be targeting to look at our women to get their support. You understand? So I think that that's what we could do, and see what our mothers can benefit from such.
Are you a fulfilled MP?
I can say yes.
Yes.
I can say yes.
Okay, we'll come to that later. Let's move on to unemployment in your constituency. I mean, it's a headache for the entire country, and so I don't think you have any special cases in your constituency, because I can understand and I want to believe that it is still very bad in your constituency. The youth in your constituency do have complaints. They don't have jobs. They come to you all the time to help them find jobs. I understand that they even come as far as to Parliament House with their CVs to get you to look for jobs for them. These industries in your constituency, how helpful have they been in engaging the services of some of these young men and women?
Let me say that it's quite a Herculean task getting jobs for these able-bodied youth who have graduated from school, ready to work, and unfortunately the labor market is not giving them the opportunity to get these jobs. I've managed to get some few people into jobs.
Okay.
And I don't want to mention
in
names.
your constituency or outside the constituency?
In my constituency. I've managed to get few of them.
Okay.
But again, I'm not in power. If my party is in power, we'll have done a lot to save these youth. But the problem is at the macro level. I heard my president saying that he has done so well because the economy is so resilient. If your economy is resilient, you will not be getting unemployment graduates on our streets where we cannot even expand. These private industries
well, unemployment is everywhere.
It's everywhere, but it depends on the management typology of the country that will compel the private sector to expand. Now they are tight. They can't do much. I've given you an example. During the State of the Nation, during the budget, in my contribution, I'm a member of the Trade and Industry and Tourism Committee of Parliament. And consistently, I've been drawing attention of the Speaker. That look, the very government who is competing with the private sector at our local banks, it is making the cost of borrowing quite expensive. Now people are so lazy, all they do is that they get their money and go and put in TBs. They don't want to hustle. Because if you're not careful and you go and invest, you get lost. Because the stability of our currency is a problem. The city is hemorrhaging. It's quite recently that you see it's slightly being stable. But it's artificial.
How is that artificial? I mean, it's stable.
It's
been stable for a number of months.
Clearly, the industrial sector, the manufacturing sector, has grown at a negative 0.02% in last year. Yes, that is the reality. In 2015, it was negative 0.8%. In 2013, it was negative 0.5%. And these are two main factors, agricultural sector and the manufacturing sector, that are able to transform our country. So if there are these sectors that have dwindled so drastically, there's very little you can do. So it's unfortunate that the youth are asking for jobs, which unfortunately I don't have them readily available. But if the economy can be so strong enough that the private sector, the government can give them that support to expand, that is where we'll have the opportunity. Because when consumption is high, production is high, the entrepreneurs or the business guys are ready to expand to get more people into their system, to employ them, to create more jobs for our people. Then again, I think that the quest for white-collar jobs is a problem. I studied in Warwick University in England for my master's. One thing I saw was the need for skill development.
Right.
Because in the cold, if you have a problem with your gas, all you do is to call a technician. He gives you an appointment, he comes, he fixes it for you, and at the end of the day, you pay about 100 quid or 200 quid, you are gone. These are the guys who are managing the economies of these great countries that we have. So skill development is very important, you know. So if the youth can find their way in skill development, there are a lot of people with vocations. If you are able to have your hand skill, you can create your own job for yourself, not necessarily waiting for white-collar job, which is non-existent.
Okay, when we come back, we'll be talking about the needs of fishermen in your constituency. We'll also, well, we just touched on the Chemu Lagoon, but I would want us to also talk a bit about it still. I have some questions there, but in the meantime, let me take a look at some responses that have been coming from majority of the people actually in your constituency. This one here is from, let's look for it, Ni Ama, who says, Nana, but the issue of filth in this constituency has been there for long. I think the chief should be contacted instead. He is responsible for it 100%. Is this something you want to comment on? The chief is responsible?
It's a collective effort. It's not necessarily the chief. You know, it's all about education. That is why I'm saying that the fighting or dealing with filth starts from the individual. I mean, when you get your home so filthy, you don't expect the chief to come and clean your house for you. You understand my point? So right from the individual perspective, if you're able to clean your house, and when you finish, you know there's a refuse container just close by, you just go and dump them in. Then the duty of the assembly is to make sure they let it go and get it thrown out, bring it back. But all these things are for fee. Because we don't run free service. You need to pay a token. Because the machine that is coming to lift, the workers who are working at the landfill side and all that need to be paid. And we need to get all these things well organized. So I think that, yes, it's a very good point that he has made, but not necessarily about the chief. It's all of us.
Okay. Ghana Paul says Kempis never shows up for any discussion between him and Titus Glover. I'm afraid, Nanaba, you wasted your credit calling him. He will not show up, and it's the same way he will not show up in the elections. He will not be voted for. We move on to Ishmael Okanse, who says, I used to live in his constituency. I had to move because the pollution was a nightmare for me. It is terrible, and I'm happy to hear he's taking on Pioneer Food. We move on to more messages. Clara Asiedu says, thank you so much for touching on Tema East this evening. I must say that I'm very proud of Titus Glover. I didn't vote for him in the last election, but I'm happy with the work he's done at the market you talked about. Kosue Jaso market. Okay, we move on. Abdullah Mohammed says, I love to listen to Titus Glover. When will it be the turn of the Nandom constituency? Very soon. We are still going through the constituency, so pretty soon it will get to their turn or your turn. Afedu says, Nanaba, please tell Titus Glover we are very proud of him in this constituency and we will keep him in this constituency. As for Titus, as for Kempis, and he adds a lot of M to his H. I guess. Sanitation is an issue in this constituency. I dare say that it won't take the MP alone to solve it. The MCE alone cannot do it. We need central government to help with the sanitation issues in this constituency. I'm sorry, but it's such an issue for everybody, everywhere. All right. Why is Benefsin giving apport to President Mahama? Well, that's a question Doom Mahama is asking. That's your name on Twitter. Is asking tonight. It was about the countdown we did earlier. Okay, Nanaba, please ask the Honourable MP what he thinks about the development of sports in the constituency. Well, especially when you were a footballer.
Yes, of course.
Former footballer.
You want me to respond?
Yes, then we can take a break.
Tema.
Oh, then connected to that, Evans Obutete, Nanaba, ask Honourable Titus Glover what he is doing to revamp the Colts football in his constituency.
I was a former Colts player.
Okay.
I played Hearts of Folk. My mates were Shamukwe and Joe Ado and all that. And I remember as far back in 79, 80, 81, thereabouts. And Santo Fiakwa was also my mates at Kaiser Base here in Accra.
I see.
So I played at Funia United. That was way back in 92, 1993. So development of sports, I think that's talent. We have so many talents in Tema. And what we need to do is to develop some of these parks that we have. And my colleague Kofi Bracco is doing so well. You know, he's been able to fix the TDC park in Company 4. He has started something doing at Vaco Park in Company 7. I'm also going to do same at Tridase Primary School, the Wembley. We need to.
You call it Wembley?
Yeah, we'll call it Wembley. Yeah.
I see.
I want to grass the school field and all that.
I see. That's
then
interesting.
Also, there are some Americans from Atlanta who have had a memorandum of understanding with the Assembly and the Ministry of Youth and Sports, where they want to construct an Olympic-sized stadium of Tema Sports Stadium.
Right.
And we are expecting them by the end of this month.
You're a fan of Inter Allies?
Not at all. I don't remember the last time I went, because the kind of ball they are playing these days, I'm not
All right.
about that.
All right then. And the last message before we go, Nuruddin Binda says the NDC government, by all standards, has failed the constituents in Tema East, hence our readiness to maintain the NPP candidate. On that note, we take a break. If you have more thoughts on this discussion, send them to us. If you have questions as well, this is your MP. I'm sure he's willing and able to answer. After all, he showed up. He cares about you. Do stay with us. Okay. Comments from you here on Twitter. This one says the NDC candidate has run out of propaganda stories to tell us tonight. Nanaba, the Honourable Member of Parliament, has contributed immensely to the development of sports in this constituency. I think he mentioned it while we were on commercial break, so he'll touch on it pretty soon. Bayarafa Amadu says that he lives very close to that market you mentioned. The Kwasiye Dwaso market in that constituency, and he's very proud of the work you have done there, and he says kudos to you. Long shall you continue. We move on to more messages here, and I'm sorry if I'm unable to read all your messages. It's quite a number, there's a slew of messages on my timeline. Frank Nimfa says, Nanaba, the youth in this constituency are all in favor of white-collar jobs. Please ask the Honourable Member of Parliament what he is going to do to ensure that they change their attitudes and think outside the box. I bet you answer that question pretty soon. Mensam says he works in one of the companies and industries, I think, in your constituency, and what you're saying is very true. In the past, they were helping. These days, things are tough, so, well. Frank Nimo says, Nanaba, where is Kempis? Please don't tell me he ran away again. Well, I don't know of situations where he's run away, but tonight is definitely a no-show for him. Oh, you can actually see, but I have the seat reserved for him right here, and he didn't show up. Anyway, so enough of the messages for now. I'll come back to the rest of them later. Let's talk about the development of sports quickly, and then we can go into
And what
things.
I've done since I became the Member of Parliament was my support towards the annual Intersite Shamukwe Memorial Gala. Shamu was my cousin, my maternal cousin, and we all knew how he lost his life so dearly at the peak of his career. So this Intersite, we started it. My community Site 10 and Site 7, we started it, playing the youth almost every year. And then with time, other side like Site 5 and Site 9 all came to join. So when Shamu died, then the then municipal chief executive, Honorable Nyamashite, who is currently the Member of Parliament for Koli Klote, instituted the annual Shamukwe Intersite Memorial Gala. So every year I support them with cash from my common fund. I buy them jerseys, I donate silver cup, and all that. Unfortunately, I had a very big disappointment from Royal Bank last year. They promised to assist me. The last minute, they have to disappoint me. That was quite unfortunate. But notwithstanding that, I think that there's a need for us to continue because Tema has a lot of talents for football.
Has it been helpful, these games you talk about?
Why not? Because, you see, the time in which the organizers organize this football match in the way are able to bring the youth in these communities together. Because find their ways into the beaches. And sometimes you don't hear very good news. You'll be there, you hear that the sea has taken somebody away because they went there to have fun and all that. But because it's very competitive enough, a lot of people, the whole place is filled with spectators. Just want, and you have all these footballers who play this Premier League and all that, and sometimes the professionals, they all come and join to play. And it makes the whole organization of that sport quite interesting and all that. So I think that, yes, somebody talked about coach development. Similarly, as an individual, I may not be able to do that. When I was a young boy, you have these intercompanies who play together. Cargo readers, you have TDC, you have state fishing, you have GTP.
And it's all gone.
It's all gone. That was the days when Tema was Tema. You understand? And we have these codes because there were monies in the pockets of people. I remember my team manager, he's still alive. He's called Natus Anyabui. He lives in Comedy 4. I see him sometimes and I weep. This is somebody who has developed talent in Tema here. But you see him now, unfortunately, he's quite old. He's above 60 now. And sometimes we support him here and there. So I think that for an individual to show up, it's quite expensive running football in this country. Look at the way we even run this premiership and all that. So to run a coach team, that means that you are very resourceful to do that. Those days you have a lot of, workers coming together you know, pulling resources, small, you add it together and maintain, you know, and develop the talent and all that. Now the jobs are not there. You don't get people to do it, you know. So if we're able to bring these things back, why not? I'm ever ready to contribute money into the development, coach football, when it starts. But individual as a member of parliament will be quite tough.
Okay. Now let's move on to the fishermen in your constituency. Fishermen.
I'm a grandson of a fisherman.
Oh, are you?
Because my grandmother has a lot of brothers and cousins who were fishermen. I recall that was about 45 years ago at the 5 beach where this erosion has taken place. You have these coconut trees planted all over that place. But now because of erosion and all that, they've all gone. You see my grandfathers, when they go to sea.
Is Tema getting any better?
Well, we are overpopulated.
Right.
Tema is choked, honestly. So people are even moving out into new development areas and all that. Clearly, I'm disappointed on this government. When you come to the fishing harbor, there is boat yard, okay? Apart from the artisanal canoe fishermen, we have these wooden trawlers. And we had a boat yard that was built by Gehok at the time, where they repaired these wooden trawlers. You know, the boat yard is lying idle. So when these wooden boats get destroyed, you can fix them. I'm sure your team were able to capture that part of the boat yard. And there was a money that was given by the World Bank, $53.8 million into the development of the fisheries subsector. It includes the fixing of this boat yard. They need to fix it back. It includes the purchase of a research vessel by the Ministry of Fisheries and Agriculture so that they can really educate the fishermen as to when to go to sea. These money, $53.8 million, they have not done any of these things. I've tried so hard to ask questions, to invite the minister to the chamber for me to ask a question. I'm getting difficulty in inviting the minister to come.
So it's just lying idle.
It's lying idle. So you can imagine what is going through. One major ingredient of this fisherman is the premix fuel. And I tell you, in the days of MPP, premix fuel was sold like tomatoes on the open market. Was
it? It was such a big issue in one of the elections. They didn't suggest that it was being sold on the market like tomatoes.
It was in abundance. Nanaba, if you have your money, you have your gallon, you go to the pump. Because it was not meant for only one person, like the NDC is doing.
You did have challenges with the management of premix.
We did have challenge, but it was in abundance. Fishermen did not struggle the way they are doing. And the supply, because the demand is quite high, but the supply is not. They've run down the refinery. Tomorrow refinery has not been working because that's the major production center of the premix. You understand? So it's not coming. So what do we do? So because the demand is so high and the supply is very low, you have few quantities that comes. And you look at the numbers of all these fishermen, not only from Tema. Some are coming from the east, from Madan, from Langon area, Pram, then from the western side, the Fanti area. When it's the season, you come to Tema Canoe Beach, you can't even count the number of canoes. And that is a major issue about the premix. I heard the president, when he went to the western region, talking that he's going to make sure they supply more. Bago, for 8 years, where people have to fight.
Well, the situation has really improved.
Where?
In the fishing communities, I understand.
When I was coming to this studio, I heard one of the news, Adum FM News, Wuniba and Gumwanyanyan, they're talking about the same issue. Then yesterday, in Kita area, talking about the same issue. And I think that they should vote against this government for their non-performance in the fishing subsector. Do you understand? And clearly, if a fisherman does not go to sea, he goes hungry. He cannot turn himself into an armed robber. So every effort that government need to do to let the fishermen go to sea, they have to do it. So if your supply is inadequate, you are now telling you you're going to make sure they come in, it's already gone. The refinery must work. For 8 years, we prefer to have imported products, where a crude, when it's refined, have so many products, including the premix fuel, for these fishermen to go to sea. You understand? So clearly, even the cost of fishing gear is quite expensive. Very, very expensive. compared to our time. Do you understand? So the life along the coast, from Kita to Axim, where our fishermen, and including the river belt area,
are these part of the rampant complaints you receive?
I've received a lot of complaints in terms of the cost of the fishing gears and the premix fuel.
Right.
Okay? I've also had a complaint of the fact that when you go to the ports, the women have a problem with the port security, you know, which what I'm going to do is that I want to engage the ports management together with the association of the fishermen, the inshore fishermen, together with the women to sit. These are human problems which can be resolved. And I believe in the work of Richard Anamu, the Director General, and Jacob Adoko, the Director of Tema Port, that we could solve this problem amicably. So I'm looking at, by next week, I'll be able to sit down with the port authorities, with the fishermen and the fish ones, the women are the fishing about to solve this problem. Okay,
now let's move on to the next issue, crime in your constituency.
Nanaba, you are asking questions that are meant for...
Well, you're the MP.
I'm the MP, but I think that statistics, I can't have the records of
No, I'm not even asking you to take me through the statistics.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, you're the MP for the area.
Yes, I am.
And I don't expect you to have, you know, immediately the number of crimes that were committed in the first quarter of last year compared to this year. No, that's not what I'm talking to you about. Because as an MP, you're the people's rep in Parliament. And so whatever they want in their constituency, they look up to you, they look up to the MC, and as well as other leaders in the constituency. But would you say that crime has gone down in your constituency? Is it a problem in your constituency?
Well. Tema, you don't hear much about robbery.
Good
I
for
think
you
last
then.
year, we had 2-3 armed robberies in Tema Newtown.
Okay.
Around that Champon village, where one person was shot dead, you know.
Right.
And the police are doing their best. I've been asked to buy a motorcycle, you know, by the police. I've asked them to do a formal written letter to me to see what best I can do to provide them with
with a motorcycle,
right, so that they can move around the community with ease.
Okay.
You know, meander through the alleys and all that, so that they're able to the visibility.
But
of
I
the
thought the police had been well equipped.
But even if they had, your pickups cannot meander through
right.
the corners
so it's
and all
quite
that,
narrow.
you know,
Right.
So crime in itself in Tema is quite low.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite low.
That's a piece of good news then. Before we go on, I wanted to speak to you about patrolling as well.
It's a major issue.
The issue of fishermen came up.
There.
I completely forgot about that.
Nanaba, one issue that artisanal canoe fishermen are complaining is about in our time.
In your time being when you were young or when your party was in power?
When my party was in power.
Okay.
The trawling vessels was less than 10, 20. But I'm told it's over 200 now. And these industrial trawlers, when they're in the sea, and the way they deplete the fish stock, it's quite difficult. It's very, very difficult. So I'm looking at a situation where, and I'm sure that another will win these elections. MPP will win.
You think?
Well, I'm telling you, you go to the ground and find out what is happening. We were there before. We've talked about development. What didn't Kufuor do? But the people said they're hungry. People said they're hungry, and that's a fact. I'm looking at a situation where within the year, about a month or two, we can seize all these trawlers from going to sea. So that those smaller fishes that have been produced, because when the eggs are hatched, we need to give them time for these smaller fishes to grow. But because of the constant activity of fishing expedition in the sea, we don't even have time for these fishes to grow. We just get them out, and it's a problem. You understand? So if we can regulate these industrial trawlers to make sure that they are checked, it will go a long way, you know, to conserve the fish stock. Then also sometimes the unorthodox way of going to fishing by these are fishermen.
Right.
These light fishing, the use of dynamite are quite bad. And there's this fisheries law, you know, where they are being arrested with their generators all the time, you know, which is quite bad. I wouldn't try to support it, but I still blame the government, because if the research vessel has been bought, you know, you give them the opportunity that, hey, today don't go to sea. You have to wait or do A or B or C. But you can't with the law. On your part, you haven't done that. But you're enforcing the law. When they go to sea, you go and get them arrested and prosecute them. Anybody who breaks the law need to be checked, need to be disciplined. but you have failed
Okay.
on your parts to ensure what you are supposed to do with that 53.8. So go and find out from the Minister for Fisheries and Agriculture.
Okay, we'll talk about roads when we come back from this break, because I hear you have quite some unmotorable roads in your constituency. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that. Is it difficult being an opposition MP in Parliament when it comes to lobbying for projects in a constituency?
Really?
It is.
It is. It is. The best thing to do is to have your party in power, where you can move at ease, you know, because it's quite challenging and difficult. Even at the assembly level, where your document can lie down for so many weeks.
Because you're an opposition MP.
Member of Parliament. Sometimes when he even signing my document, he signs with difficulty. You understand? Because he doesn't see why he should do that. But if you're in power, and development should be taken away from politics. And for me, that is my passion. Let us take development, politics away from development. It is the people that we are punishing. So if you're not in power, these are some of the things that you suffer. But let me say that with the issue about roads.
We'll talk about roads.
We'll talk about roads.
After this break.
So I think that, yes, I'm struggling.
You are struggling
I'm
to
struggling,
lobby for projects.
Most of the ministers are my colleagues. I'm very nice with them.
Okay.
You know, and very supportive.
Okay. Even
though I'm not in power, very, very supportive. For example, when the Honorable Makwoyongo was the Minister for Defense, you know, there's a land that the Navy have taken from my people. It was meant for the expansion of the Tema Health Center. I made a formal request with the support of my traditional council to just release about 250 feet for us. When they were going to measure for the release, they didn't invite me, and they just took about 60 feet and just threw it on my face. I appreciate it so much. But I told Mark, my brother, we still need the rest, about the 200 feet more left. I'm still pursuing with the current defense minister, my leader, former leader, very supportive and all that. So I think that it's well. All
right. Ni Ama wants to find out who you think has been the best MCE for your constituency between the NPP and the NDC.
It is Ni Ama Shite. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for him.
Really?
You know why?
No.
This was a time when the Tema Municipal Assembly had a shaman, had a dentang, and had Bonkatamanso, including Tema. And Nia Machete was the most successful of all the chief executive who have come and gone. And I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so there you have it. You have your answer, Emmanuel Ni Amaswaras. I don't know if your E is Emmanuel, but we'll be back in a tad to talk about the roads in his constituency. Keep sending your messages, and if I don't read them, I sincerely apologize. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Let's talk briefly about roads, and then we can talk about education and the support you've been providing to schools in your constituency. We'll also touch on this computer lab you're about commissioning starting for the constituency, and then your contribution towards the development of tourism in the area. You've been very busy, huh? Yeah. Busy MP. Of course. Well done to you. Thank you, Nana. Well done. Okay, so roads. I can say that the roads within the business district of Tema is quite good. In Committee 1 proper, that is asphalted by the central government. Okay. Yeah, so that is quite good. But the problem is part of the industrial area. I've raised question on this before at the chamber, and I was assured that very soon they're going to do something about it in the industrial area and all that. Now, when you are coming to Tema here, that is my worry. There's only one road that connects Tema New Town and Committee 1. And another, you can be in this traffic for hours. And the difficulty and my worry is the fact that when patients are being rushed out of the Tema Health Center, because he hasn't got all the facilities, you know, to take care of patients and all that, they need to be whisked sometimes in the taxis. And you see this congestion right at the Neba Base Junction, through the Chemu Lagoon Bridge, to Pania Fort Cannery, to Afco Junction. If you're not careful, you can even die. you have these pregnant women who are being rushed at the place. So therefore, we need to have a bypass.
Right.
Again, I asked a question on the roads minister. We have about 3-4 access into Tema New Town. One is through the lube oil into Tema New Town. The second one is through the Vaco road. Then immediately you just drive under the Vaco bridge. On your right, they have a bush canteen where you can enter the Tema Mahia. But there's a tributary of the Chemu Lagoon called the Ozegu Lagoon. It's a tributary of the Chemu Lagoon, which we need to put a bridge on it, you know. And Gassem promised to support me to do that, but unfortunately, they've also declined to help.
Okay.
That kind of. So when you put, so I brought the director of urban roads with 3-4 of his engineers, because Vaco had then complained that we're going to interfere with their production and all that. So when they came, they realized that Vaco premises has been fenced. All they need to do is just come, walk through the road, then turn on their right, you know, and enter Tema Mahia. Provided we can connect the bridge, then they will come and provide the road to link into Manita. Then the third one is through Pong. That's a very longer distance. Because when you are coming from Pong, from Aluex, now you have about 2 fuel distribution loading bay there. That is the Chase Petroleum. And there is another one, I've forgotten the name. And you have these tankers virtually blocking the road when they are loading and all that. So if you try hard and you drive through that traffic congestion, then you come and meet the master congestion, which is the Tema Refinery one.
Okay.
You know,
definitely
so the best way we have to connect is through the former slaughterhouse to link into the Vaco road, then straight into Tema Mahia, which I'm still talking. You know, because the minister has promised that they want to look at it. We will sit with Vaco, then we'll resolve that as well.
That's great. Now let's look at education. Your contribution to education in the constituency. I understand you have been paying the school fees of a number of children in the constituency, and you've also initiated or instituted a teachers award in the constituency.
Nanaba, I'm humbled, and I want to thank my constituents for giving me this opportunity to serve them. I'm a product of teacher. In 1972, when I went to Chudase Primary School, my teacher was Miss Kujo. In class 2,
1972.
1972.
Right.
In class 2, I was taught by Mrs. Annan. She's gone. In class 3, first term, I was taught by Mrs. Osafu Boabing, who is the mother of lawyer, Wayome's lawyer. Okay. That's the mom. Then she left, and I was taught by Miss Ashley from second term, third term. In class 4, Mrs. Kudolo taught me. In class 5, Mrs.
You know all your teachers.
Yes,
wonderful.
Yes.
I have no idea.
You know, class 6, Mrs. Daku. Then Miss Mate from 1, Miss Amponsang, then Mr. Morgan.
So that has inspired you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you be in the office, then you have these parents coming to you. The father has lost his job. The mother says at Tema Market, virtually hasn't got anything.
Okay.
And they come with good grades. You have no choice than to support these children, because tomorrow they can do more than what I'm doing. So it's as a result of these challenges of these parents and these students that has inspired me. So between 2013 to 2015 last year, I've built together 1.2 billion old Ghana cedis, which is about 120,000 new Ghana cedis.
Oh, wow.
To support parents. Because these monies are into senior secondary schools, into polytechnics, into nursing training, and into the universities. The money that the parent will have used in paying the fees will have stayed in their pockets to do something else. So this is what I've been able to do to support these children. And I'm happy.
Congratulations.
I'm happy to do this. Then again,
the Teachers Fund.
When this Dumso started, the director told me that, Honorable, you see us in the dark. They don't have a generator. Okay. I managed to get them one to allow them to do their administrative functions of education in the metropolis, which I've done that. Then there was this teachers award that I attended in Damascus last year. And when I look at the awards, I wept.
Why?
Because when there was no funding, support, you know, because sometimes they give them fridges and other, you know, very important items. I saw, you know, something like book, whatever, citation, That is just...
And that's it.
And that's it. Right. I said, no. So when they gave me the opportunity to speak, and my MC was around, and I told them that, look, it's unfortunate. Fortunately for me, 6 of these teachers who were best teachers in different categories are in my constituency.
Okay.
So I managed to get brand new laptops because we're in an ICT world. The days when you write with notes and all that should be gone. So I provide them with brand new laptops to give to the teachers. Go and use this to teach our children for us, which I've done that. As I speak to you now, Chudase JHS, the old home science department, I'm turning the place into an ICT center for the school. We are going to start the process of procurement, process and assembly. So we award the contract and get it done. When that is fixed, we'll get the computers and the furnitures so the children, because you cannot be teaching them on the board when practically they cannot touch these gadgets, to what they're going to do. So on education, these are some of the things that I've managed to do to support education in my constituency. Then Chamu Secondary School, even though it's in Tema Central,
right,
but there are some students who are in my constituency, particularly from Tema Mahiang and Community 1, who attend school in Chamu Secondary School in Tema Central. I managed to get them those. Last year, they had this speech and prize giving day. And listen to the boys' prefect. What he said was that there's heat in the classroom. They don't have ceiling fans. Right. So the day I donated the teachers with laptops, I also support them with eight ceiling fans,
right,
to support, to be fixed in the classrooms for these students. So, under education, this is what I've made it to do. If MPs are giving more resources financially, there's a lot that we want to do. I'm also trying to fence the Chudase Primary School. I'm trying to fence the Chudase Primary School.
Are they facing encroachment problems?
Yes. And sometimes you have these bad guys who comes around to smoke, know, and sometimes people are being chased, to take their phones and that kind of thing. So the assembly has not provided security to the school, and there's this piffling going on in the school. They break into the classrooms, the cupboards, and take their, stationaries and all that. So we need to protect the school, So I've also trying to solicit funds to get the school fence, get the park graded into a modern, Wembley.
Modern Wembley. I like the sound of that, Anyway, you've done well for education. I'm totally impressed.
Thank you.
With your contribution to education in the constituency. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely well done to you. And then there is tourism.
Under tourism, I'm a Ghana. You're a Fanti.
Fanti and ever.
Is it?
Yeah. And I've got some Ghana roots as well. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, I'm identified as a Ghan through my language and my culture. Ghans generally we celebrate Homowo, but Tema is unique. Why do I say that? We have a festival that is celebrated earlier than Homowo.
Really?
That is called Plejo.
I did it. Oh, okay. I've heard of Plejo.
So next year, God willing, I will invite you to come.
Do you serve?
I have a picture here. No, Pokboy is the Homowo.
Okay, so what do you eat?
No, we don't eat. This is we eat then. Normal food.
Ah, right.
But in
so
this
there's
festival,
an abundance of food.
Of course.
Ah, right.
In this festival basically is about disciplining in the course of the year.
Right.
Because when you come to Tema Mahiang, or Tema proper, the traditional area, we have two main quarters. We have the Wudum quarter and the Shaman quarter. In our Wudum quarter, we have about 13 different clan houses. We have Kofichawe, that is where my mother comes from. We have Amokochawe. We have Akwete Sankawe. We have Abekwewe. We have Papachawe. We have Amuichawe. We have Yoyitush.
Oh, wow.
You know, all these are there. Then you have the Sakuma Wulomo right there. The Sakuma Wulomo rotates. They have 3 gates. You have Agbowe, you have Amokochawe, and I think you have Amuichawe. The current Sakuma Wulomo is coming from Amuichawe. Then when you go to Ashaman, we also have 3 gates where we install our chief. The Obuawe, the Kukuchawe, and Ansawe or Basawe. We have also Ajechawe and other places. So when is the Blejo Festival. It's a period where we assess the behavioral pattern of our people. If you do something good in the course of the year, they will sing to praise you. You know, now, if you do something bad in the course of the year, whether you misbehave, you go and steal, you go and chase somebody's wife, you misbehave. I mean, very funny.
Yeah.
They will sing to rebuke you. So in a way, it shapes the behavioral pattern of our people. Then they have the opportunity to worship the deity. We have the Wudu deity and the Chadi deity. You understand? They worship and prepare the place.
You know your culture.
Of course.
Yeah.
You understand? So then they will prepare. So on Friday morning, they will dance, they will prepare the shrine, they do everything. Then on Friday morning, they dance the Sakumo Bale in the morning. Then in the afternoon, the youth and the Tema Manche and his elder will sit in state. They will dance. Even the chief, they will sing song to attack him. If he's doing something wrong, they will sing and attack him. If he's doing something good, they will sing to praise him. So we started last week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is where we call it Ajekbo. It is a period for purification of the entire town. There's total light out.
I'd love to see it next year.
You know, the total light out where the chief priest and his people will do whatever they do just to make sure they pray to and have a good catch of fish. And basically, we have two vocations. We have fishing and farming. But because Ashawa is our village, Ashaman, Zenu, Sasabi, Kubeklo, and Adigon, these are our villages under Tema traditional area. Unfortunately, they fall within Katamanso. You understand? So we pray for good tidings for our people and all that. So for me, for the past 20 years, I've been dancing with the youth. You understand? So since I became MP for the 4 years now, so altogether 24 years. So I'm not a usual fan where I go and sit in states. You know, after my brief speech, I go change myself, join the youth, hold the flag, jump, sing with the youth.
Impressive.
All over the place. And I've been supporting the traditional council.
I'd love to see a video of you dancing.
I didn't know if I would have shown this to you. You can
Okay, we've got just a minute more to go. Let me take some messages for you. Prince Wayamson says, Glover, he hates it when he's called Glover. He says he's Titus Glover. It's simply superb. I like him. He's such a brainy gentleman. Attitude, I'm glad he touched on attitude. That is the problem in this country as far as sanitation is concerned. That's coming from Kwekuchum. Ni Asabre says, Nanaba, the Honorable Member of Parliament has done very well in his constituency. You sit in your studio and you think he's done well. Come to the constituency and you know how much he's transformed here. Is that an invitation to treat? For me to come to the constituency, I'll gladly come. Just make sure you stand by some konkekina for me and I'll be there. Right. Bernard Asari says that what this man has done for the constituency is amazing. It is sad that we don't get enough support, but well, gradually we'll get there. Fahir Tahir says he lives in the constituency and he's happy with the work the MP has done so far. It is sad, but well, let's keep pushing him. Very soon we may get everything. Malcolm Derry, it's disappointing that the NDC rep did not show up for the discussion. And well, it's rather unfortunate. It would have been made a very much more interesting discussion, I believe. Kafui Kanye says it is sad that the NDC MP candidate refused to show up. By their deeds, they will be known. Who will queue to vote for him? He should still not show up on the ballot paper because even if he does, we won't vote for him. Bensa Bankwe says, Nanaba, thanks for bringing the Honorable Minister here. Honorable MP here.
I'll be minister. I'll be minister.
Honorable MP here. And I say shame on Kempis for not showing up. Well, we don't know why he didn't show up. Nanaba, skilled labor is a very important thing, and I'm glad the MP brought it up. We really need skilled labor in this constituency. Well, that's all I can take for now. Thank you very much. Honorable...
You did not touch on my sewer replacement.
Right, I'm sorry.
Just behind Kempis' father's house, there are houses that have changed their sewer lines because you see these old fiber pipes that has broken. You see phases just on top, on the surface, where people walk on blocks into their rooms.
Okay.
It's quite bizarre and quite very bad. I've managed to change all that. Site 15, Site 16, Site 21.
Well done.
I'm trying to get more pipes. I'll be going to Site 10, Site 12, and size 17, a major problem area.
All right.
To fix that one.
Well done to you. Well done, and thank you very much.
Thank you
Honorable
very much,
Daniel Ni Kwate Titus Glover, Member of Parliament.
Regards from my son, Benjamin.
Benjamin.
Titus Glover.
Yeah, Benjamin, you know, regards to you from me and my family. Well, so that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for coming. Next week, Friday, we'll still have another constituency featuring, hopefully, all the MPs will show up for the discussion. Thanks a lot tonight to Melanie Crane for this lovely outfit. I'm getting a lot of messages about it. Well, yeah, it's very unusual for me to be in something like this, but I totally love this one. It's from Melanie Crane in Jowulu. Also, thanks to Akosio V for styling me here by Cookie Spala. We'll see you on Monday with State of Affairs, more interesting discussions and interesting people. Have a beautiful weekend.